Chapter 2: Family Circle. You can never change your family background history, but you can set the history of your grandchildren's family background. Family signifies one's belonging in a given community, though you do not choose which family to originate from, and surely there is no choice to make about its nature, health status, economic status, spiritual background, discipline, eligibility of your parents' marriage, either legal or not, and its race, that is African, Asian, American, European, to mention but a few. However, all the latter do not matter because its soul is worth being it. Similarly, it may not matter whether your family is complete with both parents or incomplete with a single parent, foster or biological, intentional or unintentional. What does matter is that you're here, alive and breathing through your lungs, irrespective of which family you come from. In relation to the other circles of life, family tends to have a key influence and assumes control of the other circles, no matter where you are. This is because it is through family that you came into the universe. However, this influence is either positive or negative, and if your family is influencing your life positively, that is, it is supportive to the path of your life aspirations, why not to acknowledge such an influence? But if your family is influencing your life negatively, that is, when it's not supportive to the path of your life aspirations, then you have a choice to reject such an influence and purpose to take a different life path, because sometimes in life, taking a distinctive path does not mean that you are lost. It's a sign of bravery to pursue and accomplish extraordinary things. There is no doubt that this is one of the hardest nuts to crack in life, since you are proving to take quite a different course of life from the rest of your family. Nevertheless, you have the power and ability to make that life-changing decision, because if you don't, you'll have to face the consequences of not taking that choice you ought to have taken during your journey of life. How does family circle influence the other circles of life? Just as stated earlier in this chapter, family influences the other circles of life either positively or negatively. Influence on education. For instance, a family comprising of parents with a low education status might influence their children to read hard and be better than them academically, thus widening the circumference of their children's education circle. Or they may deny their children education because they did not achieve high academic levels and thus may not value it, hence narrowing the circumference of their children's education circle. However, you have got to appreciate and acknowledge the efforts and support of your family, no matter its magnitude. For it is your family, and you have no other, since you cannot reverse your coming or origin. But you have a choice on the influence of your family upon your life aspirations, whose consequences may be positive or negative. Many times, we miss out on our dream careers and end up doing careers ourselves don't want. And this continues to happen generation after generation because we fail to make one decision, deciding to make a choice contrary to the casual family suggestions about our future careers. We have got to say no to negative influence of any form from our families and do that we ought to in order to realize our career aspirations, basing on the fact that we are ready to pay the price worth it. Influence on relationship. Often, a family tends to control the friend zones of its constituent children as a key role in grooming them by setting them limitations on who to associate with, when and why. It is true that in life we need to be keen about our social circles in order to realize our life aspirations. However, that does not rule out the fact that we will need to work with other people too, a skill we ought to learn at an early age. Truth be told, of recent, there is rampant construction of wall fences around homes in African communities, which cuts off the social circles of the neighborhoods and thus people lead isolated lives from each other. The worry in this is that continuity of such practices fails and kills the young generation due to failure to learn and appreciate the value of staying, working, sharing with, and learning from other people. However, today you have a choice to make about this. If it is not what you would desire for your children, grandchildren, and the rest of the human race community, you have got to choose to make the right decision to reduce, stop, and completely end creating barriers upon yourself to associate with others, not for your selfish gains, but for the betterment of each other's holistic life. Influence spiritually. Children often believe in a certain denomination, religion, or faith because that's what it is like in the family where they were born from. This is quite a great role and effort played by the family to ensure that its children and great-grandchildren are rooted strongly in the family beliefs and values. We should appreciate the role of family, for it ensures continuity of good morals, though this should not deny us the liberty to critique some values, because we have got the power of choice to make our own history if it is aimed at our self-improvement and betterment of the society, other than trying to fit in a model we may not be complementary with. This is not to rubbish family, since it is the basic unit of the community, and it is through family that we build the foundation of our life. However, if you are to keenly look at the good virtues of life and how we learn them, it is the reason why we need to take up the lead and prioritize the family, for it is the basis of learning. Let it have a positive influence on children than the negative influence, and this is the role of us by embarking on the choices we make today and plan to make tomorrow on how our families should look like.